Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back once again for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I am your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today on the podcast is not only one of the rising stars from the Big 12 Conference, but one of the most dominant post players you could find on any court anywhere in college basketball last season, whether it was posting people up on the block, knocking down some big time jumpers left and right, and also on the defensive end, sending shots back into the fifth row. We're going to touch on that defense ability as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a 6'3" center from Central Florida, now heading off to West Virginia, Khyala Ngodu. What's going on, Kai?
What's up? What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Excited to get you on. Love the film that you put up this past season. I mean, left and right, you were contributing on both ends of the court. Absolutely dominated for Central Florida. And being a Floridian myself, I love supporting the Florida teams. Loved what you were able to do for them. And now you're going to be going off to West Virginia here, already there for this upcoming season, getting ready in the offseason to go off and win a Big 12 championship just like they did a year prior. And I want fans, viewers to really get to know who you are, this resume that you built up already in just 2 short years at the college level. In a segment that I like to call Resume Rundown, where I'm going to show off what you do best by doing what I do best, and that's making some graphics. And this graphic is going to show off some of the numbers that you put up. And obviously, those numbers that you put up is why you were an all Big 12 selection this past season in 2026, where you were leading the Knights in rebounds, steals, blocks, second on the team in points per game, and always able to do everything that you can to really help your team win. And you entered year three with the Knights as just this X factor for them. You have obviously this experience with them doing what you do, showcasing what you could do at a high level. And you take this big jump where now they're seeing, okay, she's not only one of the primary options, she can be the primary option if we need her to be, drop a bucket left and right, and obviously doing what you did on the defensive side when it came to getting big time stops. What would you say was the big X factor for yourself to where you were able to take this jump and grow your numbers?
Yeah, honestly, that off season before my junior year, I just knew that the way I was producing, I wanted to produce a little more for my team. I knew that coming into college, but I was trying to be patient with myself my first 2 years and just kind of get used to getting my body right and getting stronger and getting where I needed to be on that end. And so once my junior year hit, I wanted to really learn my game and figure out how I could apply it and find my place in the Big 12 to be like an actual factor. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Big 12, obviously, one of not the best conference when it comes to college basketball. And you were
sure.
going against very talented players every single night because you are one of these talented players every single night. No matter who you're going against, you know that you can compete. And it did take a few games for you to really find that rhythm offensively. Defensively, obviously, since game one of the season, you were able to make that impact with, obviously being 6'3", having a long wingspan, but also the IQ that you have. But offensively, sometimes it takes a little bit to get going. And in game six of the season was when you started to really find that flow, it seemed like, and you went on an absolute rampage after that with six straight games after that with 10 plus, including back-to-back 20 plus point game performances. How would you say you were able to really find that rhythm offensively, and how long it would? Obviously, I'm coming from the outside looking in. You're the one on the court actually doing what you do. When would you say you
Yeah.
did find that rhythm?
I'll say right around Puerto Rico. Like you said, we went to a tournament in Puerto Rico. We played some pretty good teams. We played Wake Forest, we played ECU, and we played Rice. And I think going out there, I wanted to use like the new it's like a neutral setting. It kind of felt like it wasn't a lot of pressure, and it gave me the opportunity to play in front of people I've never played in front of, play against people outside of our conference, and play against teams I've never played against. So I felt like the opportunity to kind of start fresh and really like have a lot more confidence in myself and my ability. I was in the gym a lot before that tournament, and I knew it was a turning point that we needed. We had a loss early in our season, and going out there, I wanted to step up for my team as much as possible. So
Hey,
yeah.
well, you definitely did step up, and overall on the season, you
Now
stepped up anytime you
Yancey
could. You
going to
averaged
feed
nearly
out in
11 points per
front. It's
game, seven
Ngodu as
rebounds,
the
a
connection
steal and
is
a half, a
mine.
block and a half, and I
The
mean, going
score
against
for the
East Carolina, one of the
Bears
teams you're
as
facing that turn
Jacoria
in that little
Bracy
tournament,
galloping through
20
the lane,
points, seven
taking it to
rebounds against
fall.
them,
Offense.
against Arizona,
Bracy with the
22
left
and
hand.
13, and then
It'll
going
come out now
against
to Ngodu.
Houston,
Ngodu
you
working
had 20
inside in
points,
his
10
own.
rebounds, four steals and four blocks, which, according to UCF social media page, you were the only player in the NCAA this past season to put up those numbers in a single game. So obviously speaks to the talent that you had, and you really were a big factor in helping this team start off so strong. 8-3 start to the season, including wins over East Carolina, Rice, FIU, another Florida team. I know whenever Florida teams go against each other, there's a big rivalry. You want to come out on top. Obviously, you guys did
Sure.
just that. What clicked early on for you guys as a unit, 1 through 15, to where you guys were able to get these big key wins in non-conference action?
Honestly, I think a lot of it was pride. In non-conference, you trying to gear up for a conference, get yourself ready, get your team ready, get that chemistry together. A lot of the teams that we were playing were not Power Four teams, and we didn't want to underestimate anybody. We wanted everybody to feel us, and we wanted to get the message across that it don't matter who we playing against. It's us versus us. We're trying to become the best team that we can, and whoever we're in front of, like, they're in our way. And obviously we didn't have a perfect non-conference schedule, but we used those games that we did and didn't win to kind of get us ready and make us the best team we could be.
Hey, there you go. Always got to find ways to learn and improve. Obviously, you guys did just that. And you yourself, you were always able to improve and drop buckets left and right, block shots into the fifth row, like I mentioned before. And I want to show off some of these highlights that I keep mentioning in this segment that I like to call Make That Play, where we're going to see firsthand what you are able to do. And I went through your film. I put together my list of what I feel like were your top three plays from this past season. But I'm just a stats guy. I'm just a fan in the stands. You're the one on the court doing what you do best. So what would you say was your best play from this past season?
Uh, my best play. I want to say we played against. I'm trying to think of a game clinching play that I made. We played against Colorado in our conference season, and I got the ball at the top of the key. I think we were up like 2 points, maybe, and this was like fourth quarter, games winding down. And they were pressing us. So I got the ball at the top of the key. It was a real tough pass. The room for me to make the pass to my teammate at the basket, it was very small, but I kind of squeezed it through there, and then she made the layup, and it gave us a lot of momentum going into those final couple of seconds into that game. We sat down and we got a defensive stop, and then we pulled out the win. So that's probably the most important play that I feel like I made, just because it led to us getting a win, and that's honestly what's most important for me.
Hey, absolutely. There you go. Winner's mindset right there. That's why West Virginia wanted to bring you in for their program because you know how to win. They know how to win, all going to blend very well. And we'll touch on West Virginia here in a little while. But first, I
Mm.
got to show off these three plays because while you're talking about a great playmaking assist that you had, I'm going to show off some buckets that you dropped. And at number three, I got a big time score over three defenders against Texas Tech, where you ended up catching that ball on the block. And right when you turned towards the rim, you had a triple team on top of you. They all knew, oh, she's dominating the post. We got to try to stop her. You said, no, that's not happening today. And not only were you able to cash in that bucket, you also drew a foul, went to the free throw line for the and one opportunity there. So that's at number three. And number two, I'm going to show off not just one block, but back to back blocks against Kansas in the Big 12 tournament, where
Yeah.
your opponent tried to back you down a little bit, tried to show off their muscle. You weren't going anywhere. You didn't budge. She went to get a shot up. You swatted that. She caught her own rebound. And then she tried to do it again. Why? I don't know, because you sent that out of bounds real quick. So that's at number two. Number one, though, I got to go with this athletic score leading to an and one opportunity against West Virginia, the team that you're now a part of. Caught the ball
Yeah.
on the block, dribbled out of a double team, hit a spin move into a kind of a step through motion while fighting through contact the entire way. And you ended up cashing in the bucket while falling backwards onto the ground. And obviously went to the free throw line, did your thing there. So dropping buckets left and right, big time impact on the defensive end. I mean, you just were really such a complete player for them. And I want to talk about your defense specifically because, yeah, you're 6'3", you have this long wingspan. You and I both know there's a lot of expectations from taller players to be able to block shots and do stuff like
Yeah.
that. You and I both know at the Big 12 level, it's harder than people want to make it seem. You obviously have that IQ, you have that defensive presence, where you, I mean, even steal wise, you had three or more steals in six different games in Big 12 action. Talk to me real quick about developing your role on defense and how you would say you were able to maximize that to be this dominant threat.
Yeah, I think as a post player, or specifically as a center, you want to be the anchor for your team's defense. You want to be the loudest on the floor because you're usually the one that can see everything. So I took a lot of pride, especially being one of the leaders on my team or the leader of my team, and just setting the tone defensively. Like there's not a possession that I want to go by that we don't get a stop. So I think, like I said, just taking a lot of pride in it. I want people to know that coming in the paint is not going to be something that's going to come easy, and I kind of want to relay that message over to my teammates. So that's where a lot of it came from, just competing.
There you go. Always able to do what you got to do, step up, as I keep mentioning. Obviously, that's a
For
common
sure.
theme when we talk about your career, always stepping up in big moments. And you had to step up even more towards the end of the season because your guys' leading scorer, Leah Harmon, she ended up going down to injury, missed the last chunk of the season, unfortunately. But you were
Yeah.
able to say, you know what? She might be out. We still got to find a way to win. We got to find a way to contribute. You ended up getting more shots per game, stuff like that, cashed in some more buckets, did your thing. Talk to me real quick about how you would say you stepped up, not just on the court as a player, but on and off the court as a leader for your team, knowing that, all right, our primary scorer is out. We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, I think some of it was me stepping up as a player and a leader, but some of it was like fulfilling my teammates with the confidence that they needed to step up as well. You know, with our primary ball handler being out, I knew that I needed to step up, but I also knew that there were other guards that needed to step up. So part of that leadership role is giving them the confidence that they need, telling them shoot when they open. Um, Making sure that they know that I trust them and I don't have the mindset that like, okay, she's out, so it's all on me. No, it wasn't that. I knew I had to step up. I got more shooting opportunities. I took pride in that. But a lot of it was understanding that everybody had to step up because she was a big part of our team.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, she's a fantastic player. You guys had a lot of other great talent on the roster besides just the two of you, just like you mentioned there. And I mean, you look back at these 3 years with UCF, you develop as a player, you develop as a person, and understand the game of basketball over these past 3 years to where now you can head into West Virginia as an even higher level player than what you were when you first got to UCF, obviously having those 3 years under your belt in the Big 12, one of, if not the best conference in basketball, like I mentioned before. Talk to me
Yeah.
real quick about how you look back at this tenure with the Knights and how you feel like you were really able to develop to where you can go into next season and contribute to the reigning Big 12 champions and lead them to back championships.
Oh man, honestly, I learned a lot. Especially I have certain memories from my freshman year, but majority of it is just random games and off court stuff and relationships that I built with people. But the main thing that I kind of learned over the last few years is maintaining hope and uh just grit through adversity. Obviously those first 3 years at UCF we weren't winning much, but I still had to figure out a way to get up, come to practice with the same motivation as I would have after a win, the same motivation after a loss, you know what I'm saying? And still getting in the gym, having hope that you can win the next one. And I think doing that and figuring out a way to stay like focused and on track and not give in or give up even though things aren't going great is giving me a lot of like experience with like picking myself up, because it's like obviously coming to this winning program you're expecting them to carry over that same tradition, but mentally because of what I've like been through, I'm prepared for when and if we get knocked down. I'm like, okay, I already seen this, I know how to pick myself back up and be ready for the next game.
Hey, there you go. And now you're going to be bringing that mentality over to West Virginia, a program who, like I mentioned before, reigning Big 12 champs. They're known for winning, have that history of also producing players to go to the next level, to the pro level, to the
Sure.
WNBA. Jordan Harrison just signed with the Flame, the Fire, whatever they're called now, the new team in the WNBA. And before that, they've sent quite a few as well. You're looking to hopefully be the next WNBA product that the Mountaineers are able to produce. And obviously, when you entered the portal, I'm sure they weren't the only team that were recruiting you. You had a lot of options to where you could continue your career at another institution. What was it about West Virginia that you would say really stuck out to you specifically to where you felt like, okay, if I go here, not only am I going to get an opportunity to win, but I can grow as a player and continue my career after that?
I feel like honestly, the coaching staff's belief in me as a player and as a person, they were actually the first school to contact me and my agent when I went into the portal. And that kind of like belief and pursuing me as a player, it just kind of made me feel like really valued. Me and Coach Khyala, we have a lot of conversations about what he believes my role is going to be and how much he sees me being a great player this year. And things of that nature. So him and the rest of the coaching staff, they went out of their way to get connected with my family, and that was super important to me. They value things like that, not just who I am as a player, but also as a person. So those are a few things that made me want to come here.
Hey, there you go. I mean, obviously, you've seen firsthand that their coaching staff, they know what they're doing. That's why they're in the position that
Absolutely.
they're in, all the success that they've had, and they're going to help lead you to a whole lot of success, being able to play alongside another great roster, just like you got to play alongside at UCF. And I want to give
Sure.
you a chance to shout out some of these teammates coming up this season, past teammates, whatever fits the bill, in this segment called Who's Up Next, where you get to recommend players that I can have on the podcast, get them to talk about their stories, their careers, just as you're doing now. So, who would you say is next up on the Some Sports podcast?
Oh man, honestly, I have a lot of teammates that I could recommend. I have great relationships with all of them. Well, a few of them, but basketball wise, I like to look at like potential. So I'll probably say on previous teams, Summer Yancey, she's a player that you should definitely be watching for. Leah Harmon, she's a player that you should be watching for as well. I had a couple teammates that ended up graduating that were talented as well. But um, on my current team, honestly, I look at our whole roster and see potential in everybody, man. Like we have so much talent all around the board and so many people that want to work. So I'm very excited to see everybody, and I honestly would recommend all of them coming on.
Hey, I don't blame you there. I already had Gia Cook on earlier this season, who is one of your guys' most talented scorers going into this season, and she led them in scoring a year ago. I had Mimi Wheeler, who was their post player last year. You're going to be going in, filling in her spot, and no doubt in my mind, you're going to be doing a fantastic job, just as she did, helping them to a whole lot more wins. And those are great names for who's up next. And trust me, I definitely have Leah Harmon on my list of trying to get her on this podcast as well because I believe she went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
I believe she's going to drop buckets for them left and right, just like you're doing for the Mountaineers. And now that we talked about who's up next, I got to talk about what's next real quick as far as improving your game even further. Every year we talked about when you were at UCF, how you were able to improve. Now you're looking to go into your first year with West Virginia to where, all right, I know that I'm great at X, Y, and Z. If I get better at this aspect here, this aspect there, I can be even more of a complete player and make even more of an impact. What would you say are those parts of your game that you're looking to improve?
Yeah, I have a few. Definitely want to improve my on-ball defense. I feel like with the versatility and with the size that we have now at West Virginia, I could definitely be looking to play some of that forward position. So I want to be able to guard on the ball a lot better, be able to switch in some ball screens as well. I also want to work on, my left hand being able to have a go-to move on that left side of the basket so that I'm able to score and be able to handle whatever covers the defense throws at me, and just being smarter in the post, making smarter decisions. I faced a lot of double and triple teams last year, and that's something that I want to be prepared for. So, yeah.
Hey, there you go. Obviously, like I keep mentioning during this interview, you have that high level of IQ to where you know where you got to get better. And if you do get better in those, no doubt in my mind, not only are we going to see West Virginia win some more championships, we're going to be seeing your name on the back of a WNBA jersey here within the next year or so. Cannot wait to see what this future holds for you and the Mountaineers going into the 26-27 season. And beyond blessed to be able to get you on to not only talk about your basketball career, but be able to show off who you are as a person on the Slim Sports podcast today. So thank you so much for hopping on the podcast for a fantastic interview.
Of course, man. I appreciate you having me, man. This was great.